Today I'm going to show you how to make the perfect pizza dough every time. You don't need a lot of ingredients really to make good pizza dough. Really all you need is flour, salt, warm water, and yeast. Now I'm going to use 3 cups of flour. I'm going to use maybe a half a teaspoon to a teaspoon of salt. I'm just going to give it a good pinch. Then I start it with a half a cup or 2/3 of a cup of warm water, which I'm going to put the yeast packet into and let that sit for a little bit and get a little foamy. And then I'll add more water to the dough as I go so I can make it into like a nice little dough ball. And the olive oil is to coat the bowl so that it does not stick as it rises. Now I may or may not use this bowl because if there's a lot of flour in it, I might put the dough ball in another container to let it rise. But here we go. Let's make us pizza dough. Alright, here's what we want to do first. Let's go ahead and take our yeast and we're going to just open up the packet here. I'm going to put this right here so you can see it. Drop the whole thing in there. Okay. You can use 1 or 2 packets of yeast. It's up to you. If you want fluffier crust, you can use 2 of those packets. If you want kind of a thinner crust, which is what I like, more like pizza restaurant style, then just use 1. Okay, let's go ahead and mix this a little bit. Alright. We'll give it another stir in a second. Now while that's making its magic, we're going to take a cup, 3 cups of flour. If you want to use good organic flour, if you can. The secret to good pizza crust is to use the best ingredients you can afford. If you can't afford organic flour or any kind of special flour, regular flour is just fine. Your pizza dough might be a little tough though. So we're going to start with 3 cups. And this should make 2 10-inch pizzas once it's done. Alright, now this is what I was saying about salt. Now I'm just going to go ahead and give it a nice spread around in there. Okay. And then let's go ahead and just give it a little dry mix. Mix the salt in with the flour. You don't have to do this. The salt will spread when you need it, but I've had pretty good results doing it this way. Alright, this is all kind of real time here, so bear with me. But as you can see, giving the yeast another little mix here. Okay. This is the fast rise yeast, so what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to go ahead and pour it in the middle. There's flour over there, flour over there, flour over there, and then I'm going to go ahead and fill up the water. With another cup of water just so I have it on standby. And now here's the fun part. You could use your stand mixer, which is what I use sometimes, but the stand mixer tends to make your dough tough if you over knead it with the stand mixer. So hand mixing is always the best way to do it. So here we go. And when you use this organic flour, you can feel it is so soft. Now you'll want to get it until it's nice and a little crumbly before we add in more water. You may not need a lot of water, so don't pour the whole thing of water. The more water you pour in, the more flour you're going to have to add to make the dough ball work. So don't just pour a bunch of water in it. Okay, so it's nice and crumbly. Let's go ahead and add just a little bit more water, maybe another half a cup. Again, no pizza dough is going to be There's no add 1 cup of this, 2 cups of that. You just start with the base and just don't overdo it. You know, start with 3 cups of flour and then flour, water, flour, water. Work your way up a little bit. Add a little bit more. Oh yeah, you can start to feel it coming together here. Now this may take you some time to do, so don't rush it. That's why a lot of people use a stand mixer, because they don't want to do this. But I'm telling you, your results are going to be way better if you hand mix this. Make sure you use warm water, not hot water. So we can use the flour that's on the side of the bowl. And see, I added a little too much water. So after I get this a little bit mixed, I'm going to add about a tablespoon of flour, just a pinch. Maybe another pinch, do 2 pinches. This is how we make the dough, make the dough, make the dough. So we can have some pizza. Sticky pizza, 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 pizza. More flour, flour power. Oh yeah, it's starting to come out really nicely. This is a very nice pizza dough. It's gonna be it's gonna be so yummy. And then you're gonna like it, and you're gonna say, Jason, you make a good pizza dough. I can't believe how easy this is to make a pizza dough. Look at that. Look at that. That's some nice pizza dough. Now, as you can see, my bowl has a lot of flour on the edges. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it in another bowl. It's a little sticky. Little sticky. There we go. Look at those hands. Look at those hands. That's lovely pizza dough stuck to my fingers. Let's add another sprinkle. Another sprinkle. Another sprinkle. Okay. So once you get it to about this point, which is where it's just a little sticky, but not too much. So come off your hand. Okay. Let's go ahead and move it to a different work surface. Yes, you're gonna go through a lot of dishes making pizza. Sorry, this is a normal guy's kitchen, so I'm gonna go ahead and put a little surface on there. Let's go ahead and knead it. Kneading. So, started this video. When I started putting the ingredients together, we're probably about 8 minutes in, and you can see it does take a little bit of time. What I'm doing is I'm taking it over, lifting it up, smashing it down. Okay. And you play it by ear, you feel it, however it feels in your hand. Look at that. That's a nice little dough ball. Some folks are all about tucking in the creases. And you can do that if you want. Like I said, I'm not going to make this the most perfect looking pizza. dough. But you know what, this is a nice pizza dough, and you don't want to over knead it. That is awesome. That's so awesome. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it inside another bowl and let it rise. Now the size of the bowl does matter. I'm going to put it in this medium-sized bowl, mixing bowl. It will probably pop out and rise above it, but that's okay. I've learned to work with the tools that I have. You don't need to go out and buy a bunch of stuff to make all this. You just gotta. So here's what I did. I put some olive oil in the bottom of the pan. And you want to make sure when you buy olive oil that you get cold pressed. And get the good stuff. I mean, come on. Yeah, it's expensive and it's pricey, but it's so worth it. But, you know, I made pizza camping last weekend, and I just used the store brand regular old olive oil, and it was just as good. But I like the organic. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm wiggling it around the bowl. Upside down, I flipped it. Now this won't really give your pizza dough any flavor, but it will keep it from sticking to the side of the bowl. Alright, now what we got to do is let the pizza rise. You can let it rise for about an hour in a nice and cool spot. Not cool, but you know, room temperature spot. Above the oven or in the microwave is a good spot to let it rise. And come back in an hour and we'll see how big this pizza has risen. And here is the pizza dough that has risen for about an hour, as you can tell. It has about doubled in size, maybe tripled. And I just used that one package of yeast. All you gotta do is just go ahead and you can punch it down. Okay. Make it into two dough balls and make your pizza. Just spread it out. I'll be making a video later on what you do after this point. Hope you make some awesome pizzas out there. Like I said, this sauce or this pizza dough is amazing. Be sure to check out the pizza sauce recipe that I posted before this one. And have some good pizza eating, everybody out there. Enjoy. Like and subscribe, please, if you can.